live. Let me get things set up because I'm running a little behind. So if you guys can just bear with me, I'm having my computer's running slow. I'm live streaming on the camera, but my computer is running slow. So give me just a moment because as of right now, I'm not looking at any of your chats. Thank you all for stopping by and watching. I have a few talking points that we can talk about, or we can just talk and just read some of your questions, answer some of them, and we'll just see how it goes. All right, it's starting up. By the way, for any of you that are here locally, if you know of anyone here in the Ozarks that's really good with computers, working on computers, let me know, because I've got a laptop that's not old. It's an i7 laptop, and I'm having some problems with it, and I've done about everything I can think of to fix it, and I'm still having problems. So anyways, all right, now I've got it running. Several people in there. So hello all, and let me start here and look. Man, things are getting crazy out there. I know. I see that all the time. I was just on watching a live stream. Some of you may have been on there, Missouri Freedom Initiative, and they've been doing a live stream, and they're talking about, which is one thing I do want to talk about tonight. Melbourne, Arkansas, hillbilly living. Hello. Taco to go. Hello. I'm just kind of seeing who all is in here. That's a lot. But anyway, so this Missouri Freedom Initiative, this guy, Patrick, some of you have heard me talk about him. Some of you have met him that's come to our meetings here locally. And he was very instrumental in getting the Second Amendment Preservation Act passed here in Missouri. And so he was giving us some updates, and a lot of people don't know this because, well, the news media is just simply silent on this. But the House and the Senate recently passed a omnibus spending bill, I believe 1.5 trillion, something like that. And it has some gun control measures in it. Let me pull this up here in just a minute, and I do want to talk about that for just a brief minute, and then we can just move on to other things, answer questions in the chat or something like that. But I do want to bring this to your attention. So I'm pulling it up right now. So we had the big spending bill, 1.5 trillion. You've probably heard about this. They brought it up at 1:30 a.m. Wednesday morning in the House, 2,700 pages long. They did not get to read it or anything like that. There was no way to read it. And in it, it has some interesting things. The Violence Against Women Act, Reauthorization Act, and the NICS Denial Notifications Act, which both include gun control measures in it. Now, let me go down here. I'm scrolling through here. So the one is basically, it covers two things. In it, there's section 102, 101, and 801. One of it grants funding to programs to train police to execute red flag and gun confiscation orders. It also helps fund, or it offers funding to the ATF so that they can deputize local police to enforce federal gun laws. And this is in reference to the Second Amendment Preservation Acts that are out there that bar the states from assisting with federal agencies in enforcing gun laws, gun control laws. And so this would deputize local police to assist in the ATF, and they're trying to make that kind of a in-run around the Second Amendment Preservation Acts. But here's some other things. It expands the Lautenberg misdemeanor gun bill, the boyfriend loophole, which is in reference to red flag gun laws and things like that. Funding to turn state-level stalking laws into red flag gun confiscation laws. This is all in this spending bill that just passed. And then the other one that doesn't reference, it's not referring to red flag and that kind of stuff. This is the NICS Denial Notifications Act. Now, if you don't know what the NICS, that's basically where you go when you go to purchase a handgun in every state or any firearm, and you have to fill out that yellow form. It's usually yellow form, and they have to call in and they have to check to make sure that you're not a felon, right? So that you can purchase that firearm. Basically, what they're doing is there's funding in it to launch a criminal investigation into firearms transfer background check denials. So for people that go in and they try to purchase a firearm and they have to fill out their NICS form and it's denied, now the ATF will investigate you. They will come to your home and they will investigate you. Now here's the interesting thing is 9 out of 10 of those denials are just basically false negatives, I guess you would say. They're falsely denying. It's just a computer glitch of some sort, and then once it's looked into, the person actually did have the right. Yes, it's a form 4473. Scuffletown Outdoors says. So when you go in and you fill out that yellow form, and let's say that there's some little glitch or error in the system, or there's some kind of past criminal thing that doesn't necessarily bar you from buying a firearm, but it pops up a little bit on there, and so it comes back that you can't purchase a firearm. Now the ATF is going to investigate you criminally and to do a criminal investigation into that denial, which is it's insane. So I wanted to bring this to you. It's interesting because this is already, it's pretty much passed. It was passed in 48 hours. It was rammed through Congress. I believe it has passed in the Senate. And I'm not sure yet if Biden has signed it into law, but it most definitely will if it gets to his desk. There were, I'm flipping through something here, reading. There were 18 Republican senators that voted for this. Let me pull up the list here. Let's see. Barrasso, Blunt, Capito, Collins, Cornyn, Ernst, Graham, Grassley, Hyde-Smith, McConnell, Moran, Murkowski, Portman, Shelby, Thune, Tuberville, Wicker, and Young. If that's one of your senators, you'll know who I'm talking about. And it's passed. It's into law. What's interesting is this bill, this spending bill, $1.5 trillion spending bill. One of the reasons why they pushed this through so fast is so because it's got spending and it's got money to send over to Afghanistan, to send over to Ukraine. So we are sending money over to Ukraine, and part of that is to buy them. We're sending money or sending automatic weapons over to Ukraine, but here in America we are we're passing gun control laws for our own citizens. So hold on just a second. I have a tickle in my throat. Anyways, I know that I got on here and I just kind of threw that all at you, but I wanted you to be aware of that because not too many people are aware of it. You can go to Gun Owners of America. Their website is gunowners.org, and they have a bunch of information there about it. But anyway, so I just wanted to tell you folks that. Tuberville is supposed to represent Alabama, and that's not going to go well. Blunt is the representative here in Missouri, and Blunt is just awful. He's been awful ever since he's been in office, and thankfully he's retiring, so we can get him out of office. All right, I'm going to look over here at some of the comments. There's a lot of comments. They're coming through. Yeah, black market firearms. Well, you know, with the digital currency that they're wanting to push through, that may be a more real thing than you think, the black market firearms. So, which again, I think that back to the digital currency, I really think that that's going to happen. I think it's probably going to happen sooner than later. Uh, Everything that's going on financially in the country, that's uh, almost has to happen for it to prevent everything completely collapsing. Um, it's all about control, Aaron Goodman says. That's absolutely right. It is all about control. So let's see. What questions do you folks have? Um, how's the signal coming through? I should ask that. How am I coming through on your end? When do they want the digital currency? Well, they haven't said so. If on the digital currency, last Wednesday, Biden issued an executive order ordering all agencies to basically research. Everyone's saying the signal's coming through good. All right, good deal. Basically, he ordered government agencies and departments to figure out how to implement it, to put it simply. How to, what policies need to change, how to make it work is what he did. And if you think about it, with all the stuff that's going on, the economy and everything, and then the fact that there's an election this year, if and there's a strong belief that the Republicans will take back the House, and if they do that, there's a possible chance. I think some Republicans will stop it, but a lot of these big rhinos, they'll vote for it. But anyways, there's a possibility that if the Republicans take back control of the House, that they could stop this digital dollar thing. So the belief is that he could possibly push this through this year. So we're talking like by the end of the year, there's a possibility that we could have a digital currency here in the United States, and that's a pretty scary thing. That's I think would be the biggest step that we would have ever made as a nation towards big government global control. That would be pretty scary. Someone asked here, and I didn't see who it was, about guerrilla gardening. I think guerrilla gardening is great. I've actually done it before, taking seeds and making little balls out of them and tossing them. Another thing that we did, and I've done it on our own property, but I have done it elsewhere. But I do guerrilla gardening on our own property, where we'll just take random seeds, like if I have extra seeds, or sometimes I get seeds that I don't even know what they are. Haven't had them given to me, and a lot of times I'll just take them out to an area and just kind of toss some seeds out and just see what grows. And so I think, and just let nature kind of take its course with the seeds. So yeah, guerrilla gardening is a good thing, I think. All right, back to the chat room. Yeah, guerrilla gardening, Jim asks. It's more like, I think it's GUR, guerrilla, the UR, not GOR. Yeshua is on the throne. Prepare your oil. Yeah, folks. Not to get preachy on here or anything, but if your heart and soul is not where it needs to be with the Father in heaven and His Son Yeshua, it needs to be, because I have a very strong feeling that the things that are happening are leading us much closer to the end of the book, and even if it's that end is further away than we think, it's going to continue to get worse. If you think that you've got a little while to wait before you turn your life around, it's only going to get tougher. It's not going to get easier to make that decision to turn your life around. So you need to be getting, that's why I keep saying, when I talk about getting your life in order, getting your heart in order, that's what I mean. If you read in the Bible, and you read about any end time prophecies, or just anything talking about closer to the end and those days, those birthing pains and the days of Noah, it's very clear that it's not going to get easier. Not going to get easier in a physical sense, and it's not going to get easier in a spiritual sense. So I would highly suggest you getting your life in order, starting with your heart and your soul, talking to the Father in heaven, because I'm telling you, this is what we are seeing, and what we have seen for quite a while is true spiritual warfare. All right. We are a republic, not a democracy. That is correct. We are a republic. Put your faith in Jesus. That's correct. To believe that. Programmable digital currency will be tied to your social credit score, Bobby says. I agree with that. If you look at everything that's happened for the last 2 years, where we've conditioned people for this, your health ID, even not every place had it, but there were certainly places here in the United States that was doing the vaccine passport, and you could get apps on your phone. Anyone could, whether the state or local areas were enforcing it or not. Everyone had access to apps that you could have all your information on there, and you use a little QR code that they scan. It's not going to take too much to take that and the digital currency, and then all of the stuff that's happening already online, on Twitter, on Facebook, and all that, put it all together and create a digital ID social credit system, to where you are, your money is also based on your behavior. I mean, that's how it is in China. I was listening to a guy the other day, and I cannot think of his name. He's a podcaster, and he's a big podcaster. Not Joe Rogan big, but definitely a big podcaster. And he was talking about Credit Karma, which most of you probably know what that is. It's where you can they do your credit score, and they give you tips on how to improve your credit. Well, now they have where it's your actual credit score, your real credit score. Hey, thank you, JS. And then they have the Credit Karma credit score, which is not just based on your actual credit, but it's also based on your activities. So, if you had a credit score of 600, they might send you something and say, hey, if you sign up for this service, you can up your credit score by 25 points. If you buy this product, you can up your credit score another 10 points. And really what that is it's setting the stage for and conditioning people for social credit score. Where yes, it was on Glenn Beck. Someone's saying Glenn Beck. Yeah, that was the show. Glenn Beck it was a Glenn Beck podcast, but he had another podcaster on there, and I can't remember that guy's name. He was pretty smart. But that's what he was talking about. That this is just setting us up for the social credit score. Shara Mills, thank you very much. Thanks for all the work you're doing, bringing us these videos. It is my honor, and I truly enjoy the friendship and the fellowship of all of you. Many of you I have been able to meet in person. A lot of you I talk to, through chat and email and stuff, and then others just on the comments. But it's been a great experience to know all of you and to do this. You guys and gals are amazing. It's been really fun, and my wife, she has made a lot of friends because of you. There it is. Green Smoothie Queen says Adam Curry. That's the guy's name that I was talking about on Glenn Beck. And yes, Porky, that's so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Absolutely. But yes, that Adam Curry was the guy that I was talking about, and he had a ton of information. If you can find that Glenn Beck podcast that he's on it, I would certainly encourage you to watch that. A few other things that came up today on, yes, he's the original podcaster, Green Smoothie Queen says. That's right, Adam Curry was the first podcaster. He was the one that actually created it. So in the news, things that are kind of going, and I thought I'd throw these out there, and if you guys want to talk about them, you can talk about them in the chat, ask questions, and if not, we'll move on. So Russia, this is all just based on what the news is saying. So we don't actually know if this is true or not. This is just what the news is saying. Gary McCourt from St. Joseph, excited about the Expo. Yes, I will be talking about that here soon, later in this live stream. So Russia apparently is asking China for help. A lot of people they're asking for equipment, is what the news is reporting, and I'm not quite sure if we can actually believe that or not, but that's what they're reporting. And a lot of people are wondering if they're going to help and what that means. And if you remember, and I shared this over in the TPH network, which is our own website, today, February 4th, that was during the Olympics. Putin met with Xi Jinping on February 4th, and they announced that they were had basically, what was the right word? I don't have it pulled up in front of me, so I can't remember the word that they used. But basically, it meant that they, renewed their commitment and strengthened their commitment to each other, and their commitment to China committed themselves to Russia while Russia was dealing with Ukraine, and Russia committed themselves to China, and China dealing with Taiwan. And they both made an agreement to basically take down the West, so to speak. So this happened on February 4th of this year. And then, as you all know, a couple of weeks later, Russia invaded Ukraine. So I believe China is very much involved, and now they're apparently asking China for help. Iran fired near the U.S. consulate office, U.S. consulate building that's being built in Iraq, and so Iran is kind of doing their thing, and I think one of the reasons why, and a lot of people don't know this either, the Iran nuclear deal is being negotiated and worked out, and the two big parties that are working on this is supposed to be us and Russia, and apparently Biden is stepping back and allowing Russia to lead the negotiations with Iran and work out the deal. So it's just one more thing making us look weak in all this, and this one thing that came to mind and I wanted to mention in this live stream, and all this stuff that's been going on globally with Russia and Ukraine in the United States. One thing that to me that really stands out is that we no longer look like any kind of global leader. At one point in time, America was, right or wrong, America took the lead globally in any kind of thing that went on. Any kind of conflict, negotiations for peace, trade agreements. America was almost always there, and everyone always looked to America to make a decision and to get their opinion on stuff. And now here we are, basically taking a back seat, looking weak, really, really weak. We've got a weak president and a weak vice president, an entire weak government. And we've got people like Putin and China that are wanting to show their strength. And I think the reason why we're looking weak is because that's part of the Great Reset plan. So anyways, that's the stuff that I had planned to talk about. Questions, comments? Let me go here to the chat. Let's see. Yeah, hey, if you guys click the like button. Ready Set Prep says that, and Ready Set Prep is a great YouTube channel. Great guy. You should go over and subscribe. Do a search for a YouTube channel, Ready Set Prep, and subscribe to him. He came to our last meeting and he spoke, and it was a really awesome presentation. I hope to get him back and to do some more presentations for us, but the guy is really smart, very, very knowledgeable. So get over to that Prep YouTube channel and give him a like or subscribe, whatever. Someone asked about TPH Network because it's mentioned in the chat room a few times. So it is a free website that I didn't technically design myself. I paid someone to do it. There's a company, a service you can hire, and it is a social media website. It functions very much like Facebook. It really does. Pretty much most of the basic functions of Facebook are in there, except it's all private. It's something that I own. And it's there's 3,600, 4,000, something like that people in it. You don't have to, if another YouTube channel, people can be in there. If you're just a prepper, homesteader, like-minded person, you can go there and sign up. And there's all kinds of discussions. You can post anything. You don't have to just post prepping related or homestead related stuff. You can just use it just like you would a Facebook type website, except it's not being monitored. There's no advertisements. They're not collecting your data. The way the contract is done between myself and the company that's developed it and hosts it is I own all of the data. So everything that's on there, I own it, and it doesn't get sent out or sold to any other company or anyone else. And I don't charge to do it. And I mean, if people want to donate to help fund it, that's fine. But there's nothing that anyone is required to do like that. But down in the description of this video, or pretty much every video I post, there's a link that you can go and join TPH Network, and it's getting to be really amazing. There's live chats in there. You can post things. There's subgroups for all different types of subjects, and people are really liking it. And there's just a lot of good conversation going on in there. So TPH Network has turned out to be a really cool thing. It's really something I've dreamed of doing for the last few years. And then I found this company and I took a chance. What they said sounded good that they could do. And sure enough, they pulled it off, and it's a pretty good deal. And I think it functions quite well. So tphnetwork.com, or just go in the description below, click the little down arrow that opens up that description. And there's a link down there where you can join that TPH network. Sorry, my throat is a little scratchy tonight. Let's see. So Mary says she definitely enjoys TPH Network. I am very glad that it's working out for you. I don't know if you can hear dogs barking in the background. I don't know if the microphone is picking that up, but my Pyrenees, they sound like a bunch of coyotes and wolves out there. They're barking and howling like crazy. So I just wanted to clarify that if you hear that. Gasoline is $6.25 in California. Yeah, I just bought gasoline, was it today? And I paid $3.79 here, but I have seen it $3.99 at some stations. I've not seen any around me over $4. Most everything's $3.79. Like I said, a few just a little bit higher than that. Biden voters owes us fuel reparations. Boy, is that for sure. Well, it's all Putin's fault. I mean, all about, since he took office up till now, all the gas prices, it's gone up. It's all Putin's fault, folks. Yeah, everyone's putting in the chat room the gas prices near them. It looks like in the low to mid 40s for most people. But yeah, so Noah Y, I saw a question here. Can I talk a little bit about cultural secession? Certainly. So for those of you that haven't watched any of my videos where I talk about it, I haven't necessarily coined the phrase. It's not a phrase that's used too much. But it is something that I believe that we as a people should be doing. because we're going to have to. We're going to be forced to basically not be part of this society at some point, either to comply by force or not be part of society. And so I think we should go ahead and secede, break away from today's society as much as we can. And so that's what that means. We're not talking about a political secession, for instance, like what southern states did back in the war between the states. We're talking about you and I as individuals doing everything we can. It's not just boycotting. Boycotting it's to me doesn't cover it. Doing everything we can to not be part of society. Everything from choosing where to spend our money, being very careful about it, and trying not to spend our money in places that's a big globalist box store versus local mom and pop shop. But it also can be taken even more than that. It's bartering, it's gray market purchases, which is basically like a yard sale. It's choosing not to participate with social media as much anymore, and completely getting to the point that you can completely cut it off. It's becoming more self-sufficient individually and becoming self-sufficient as a community, to where if things got really bad, you don't really need the infrastructure and all the different segments of government and the economy to survive, that you can survive on your own as a hey Sherry, sorry, I've got to take a pause. One of my favorite people just popped in the chat. Haven't seen you and Gary in a long time, and we have been missing you. So hope you folks are doing good. Just some very personal, close friends of mine, so I wanted to pause for a moment and say something. Cultural secession, I think personally, when people hear that and they hear the word secession, they immediately think, oh, the Civil War, North and South seceding, oh, that's bad. But it's really not about that. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we have to begin now to build kind of a counter economy and a counter culture, because things are happening and they're changing so rapidly that, number one, we're not really part of it anymore. We no longer, we're like complete outsiders to what's happening. And it's not just the war, and it's not just the economy and the president and all this kind of stuff. It's all this other stuff that's happening in our culture. You all know about it. The behavior, it's disgusting, to put it quite frankly. So there's that part of it that we're no longer really part of. We don't want to be part of that. And it's become so mainstream. It's become so overt and normalized that we can't really be part of that anymore, consciously, with any good conscience whatsoever. And then, of course, there's the economic side of it. If we don't set up our own counter economy and secede from this system and have our own something in place, some way to survive when that economy crashes, when that dollar crashes, or when it switches over to digital currency, we're either going to be thrown off the system then, or we're going to be forced to comply because we're not capable of standing on our own 2 feet. And that's part of preparedness and self-sufficiency and homesteading, is to do it in a way, or be capable of doing these things, so that when the systems crash, or when they become so intrusive into our lives that we're losing more and more of our freedoms, that we are able to stand on our own, that we're able to break away from that society, from that culture, and say, I'm no longer part of that. I'm not going to use your currency. I'm not going to use your cell phone services. I'm not going to do any of that, because I'm not part of it, and I'm standing on my own. We're as self-sufficient as possible. We teach our own children. We raise our own food as much as we can, even though we may not completely do everything on our own. We have the capability. We have the knowledge and the capability of doing that. And then also we're building our own communities. so that when all this comes crashing down, when our civilization comes crashing down, when our economy comes crashing down, at some point, it's inevitable that it happens at some point. And it's becoming more and more likely to happen within our own lifetime. So that when all that stuff happens, we have our own safety net already created, so that we aren't going down with the ship. I've said several times on this channel over the years that that prepping is just a form of insurance. That's all it is. It's just another form of insurance, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. When all of this comes crashing down, or if it doesn't come crashing down, it becomes so intrusive to where, you have to get your mark. You have to get your digital currency. You have to get your digital ID, and you can't go places unless they know about it, and you can't purchase things unless they approve of it. So it's the choices are extremely intrusive, no rights, total police state, or it just comes collapsing down. Neither of those are acceptable to me. Neither of those I want to be part of. And so what I'm doing is choosing to secede from those systems as much as possible now. And even though I may still have connections in some of those systems, I may still have services and stuff, I'm doing my best right now to set up systems so that I don't come crashing down when it all comes crashing down. And so that's really what cultural secession is. Someone mentions the Amish. The Amish are pretty good at this already. They still certainly have connections to modern society, but they're capable of it. I think they're much more capable of it. So someone keeps saying trolls. If I've missed, I don't have any admins right now in the chat room. So if there's someone posting things that they shouldn't, let me know and I'll quickly deal with it if it's something that shouldn't be in there. I'm pretty lenient on people disagreeing and stuff, but when they're being inappropriate or just things that they're... Okay, I see who it is. Yeah. All right. I just took care of him. All right, so that's what cultural secession is. At least that's what it means to me. Now, it may mean something different from others. It may not mean the same, but that's what cultural secession means to me. It's building our own systems around us, our own culture around us, because we're no longer part of this. And this thing that they've been pushing for years is that you're just going to have to accept it. You're just going to have to deal with all these changes. You're going to have to deal with all this, teaching your children about LGBTQ stuff and that an adult man and a little boy, a little girl together is okay. You're just going to, things are changing in the world and you're just going to have to accept it, right? That's what they tell us. Well, that's not, you don't have to accept that. And so, and counter economics, yes, I don't know if you were in here just a few minutes ago, Liberty Revolution, but I mentioned that. It's all connected. Gold, silver, cryptocurrency, just bartering, trading. This is all counter economics. I mean, a yard sale is counter economics. It really is. Swapping out something that you've made or grown or whatever for someone's labor, back and forth like that. That's counter economics. It's not as deep and philosophical and hard to understand as a lot of people think. So yeah, I certainly believe that we are not just at the point, we're well past the point of doing our best to start pulling away from this madness, because the ship is going down. I've said it before. They are in a controlled crash of the plane. Like, they're in the pilot seat and they're purposely crashing it. They're controlling the crash. And our choice is either bail out while we still can. And bailing out is dangerous. It is. It's dangerous. But it's to me, it has a better chance of survival than going down with the ship. So that's what it is. No, it's not a fake beard. Someone said it's not a fake beard. It's quite real. Okay. I get a lot of people in here talking about the expo, so I'm going to jump into that real quick. We are hosting an expo at the end of May, 26th and 27th. You can go to preparedhomesteadexpo.com. Now, I haven't talked about it in the last few days. A lot of stuff has been going on. And a lot of people had emailed me about vendor. If I don't get with you soon, then you need to email me again, because when I set that website up and I set an email up for it, it could have been something I had done wrong, but I think some kind of virus or something got to it. I don't know. And I lost a bunch of emails, I believe. So the ones I'm trying to go through them, I was just almost overnight slammed with spam emails, like into the thousands. And so trying to filter through all those and find out the actual real emails. Anyways, so that's what's going on with that. So if you don't hear from me in the next few days and you've wanted to be a vendor, email me again, because it's possible that your information has been lost. But for those of you that don't know, where we have our monthly meetings, it's in a building, but there's almost 20 acres of grounds there. And so we are renting that entire land out for 2 days, and we're having a big expo. And we're getting speakers, special speakers. There is someone, I've got to get back with him this week. He's a YouTuber, and he does go around speaking. He's a personal friend of mine, and he has a much, much larger YouTube channel than mine. And he's really good. He's extremely like-minded, and he said that he definitely wants to come, and he's checking his schedule to see if he can, because he lives 2 or 3 hours away. So I've got to get back with him, and as soon as that's confirmed, I'll make an announcement. And it's a pretty big name in the YouTube homesteading world for certain. And then we have vendors lined up. We've already got probably at least a dozen or more people that are vendors, and I know that there's more emails I've got to get to. And these are people that are gonna just, set up a vending table like any other type of festival. And you're welcome to do that also. And then we have an area designated as a skills demonstration area. And so there's going to be people they're demonstrating homesteading skills, sewing. I think someone there has a home milk cow, small farm, Jersey, and so they're going to bring that, demonstrate, and talk about that. There's other people that are just other types of skills, homesteading, prepping skills, and so they're going to be doing some demonstrations with that. It's possible we will have some live music there. And then on the property, there's a few acres of woods, and there's some hiking little trails, walking trails in those. And so we're planning on doing some nature walks through those, where we will identify edible and medicinal plants. So this stuff we're planning a pretty big event for this expo, and if you're able to attend, please do. It's not costing anything for you to attend. We're not going to charge anyone. We do ask that you let us know if you're going to be there, so that we have an idea of how many to plan for. And there could be, a few thousand people there over a 2-day period. So we do have to plan for that. If you would like to make any kind of donation to help, you certainly can, and there will be like a donation box at the event for people to, if they want to slip a few dollars in, you're more than welcome to do that. There will also be food there. It's just a big homesteading prepping expo. So preparedhomesteadexpo.com is the website, and if you're able to attend, please do. I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty big event and be pretty cool. There's several really good vendors and speakers that I've talked to that we're working out the details before I can make all the announcements, at least on the speaker end of it. So that's coming up at the end of May, not too far away, a little over 2 months. So please do so if you can, to be there. All right. Let's get back to the chat room. Hey, Missouri Freedom Initiative. We were talking about you. We were talking about your live stream just before mine. So, Missouri Freedom Initiative, especially for you Missouri folks that are in the chat right now that are watching this, you need to go over and subscribe to Missouri Freedom Initiative's YouTube channel. And they are the ones that are pushing, and they're the ones that really were integral in getting the Second Amendment Preservation Act passed here in Missouri. They do all kinds of really good stuff of keeping Missouri free, pulling Missouri back to freedom and keeping Missouri free. They do live streams and other videos where they give announcements and keep people updated on what they're doing. So Missouri Freedom Initiative, that's a YouTube channel you should go check out. Anything else? Someone said, Renee says recap, please. Recap on what? What do I need to recap? Someone said, Potato Head Joe said, what is a troll? A troll is just someone that's in the chat room just stirring up problems that doesn't need to be there. Someone asked about having video at the meeting. I may have that problem worked out. We've got to do some testing. I've had a lot of problems because where the build, that's the only negative downside to this where we have our meetings. There's no internet service there, and it's a metal building, and it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's not in any kind of city or anything, and there really isn't. There's not a lot of close cell towers. You cannot get hardly a cell signal at all inside the building, and so that makes it pretty difficult for internet. But we're gonna try something. So I can't promise it yet, but we are, because I've tried a few other things and they haven't worked. We've tried using cell antennas and repeaters and stuff, and it just didn't work. So we are gonna try something else. Thoughts on the next phase of the reset? I think we're heading into the economic stuff. I mean, I may be wrong. There may be other things, but for the Great Reset to work, to function, we have to not have the U.S. dollar. I mean, if you really think about it, how they want everything to function. Hold on a second. Mouth is dry. They pretty much have to get rid of the U.S. currency, and I think that's why we've seen that happen. I think that's why we've inflated our currency. Now they're going to be raising interest rates to try to fix it, which could very much have the opposite effect, especially if they keep doing that. And then of course they're talking very openly about digital currency. And I think that they're gonna, it may not be the very next thing happen with the Great Reset, but at some point they're gonna have to get the US dollar off of the global reserve currency system and all that. It almost has to. So I think that's going to be one of the big things next. JS, thank you very much. Said, will they be able to be camping at the Expo? So here's the deal with that. On the website, I've put information on local hotels that are close, and then there's also because where this building and property is, it's only 1.5 miles from the National Forest, and there's some primitive campsites there available, and they're free, first come first serve kind of thing. So there's that. On the property itself, there can be tent camping. As far as like RV camping, just because of space, the limited amount of space, because we need enough space for parking and everything, I think the only RV camping that's probably going to be possible may be from some like vendors that need to stay there with their product, their property. But other than that, it doesn't look like we're going to have really any space for like RVs to park and to camp. But tent camping, is definitely a possibility. If people want to tent camp, there's some back area. Um, that backfield area is just not going to work for RV camping because of getting to it, and the ground's a little soft, and there's a worry that vehicles will get stuck, and the people that own the property don't really want to go there. So with RV camping. So, but if you want to tent camp, let me know, and we can probably make that happen. American Patriot, thank you very much. Thank you for what you do also. I wanted to just kind of mention that with the camping, though, that we're trying to make that work. And like I said, I've put some information on the Prepared Homestead Expo website. But if there's questions you have that's not covered on the website, shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to get back with you on that. Remember the West says primitive camping is the best. I agree. I cannot even remember the last time I slept in a tent, especially a modern tent. I was probably a kid the last time I slept in a modern tent. I've slept in primitive type tents, mountain man tents, and I've slept in a few teepees, but usually I just make my own little shelter when I go camping, because to me, modern tents, they don't breathe well, and I just don't like being in them. Lori, thank you. Thanks for being you, she says. I appreciate it, and thank you for your help also. Let's see, what else is everyone saying? No, primitive camping is not nude camping. It's not that kind of event. Bald Eagle says, I just signed up to the TPH network. Awesome. Thank you for that. I hope you enjoy it. So far, everyone else has really loved it. Prefer hammocks with the tarp overhead. I like that also. I'm just not real crazy about modern tents. They're stuffy. Get hot in there. 90% of newer generation is totally clueless about farming. That is absolutely true. It amazes me how many young people, it's not just about farming, it's that they have no clue where their food comes from. They don't have a clue. And that's scary. It's real scary. Dan Goodrich says, where are you? Hold on, my screen just scrolled up. Give me just a second. Where you order your coffee, green coffee from, and how do you store it? The green coffee I order from a company called Bodhi Leaf Coffee. Over on the TPH network, I did leave a link there. I have no business relationship with them whatsoever. They sell bulk, by the pound, unroasted coffee beans. And I store it pretty much like I do any other dry goods, in a Mylar bag, that kind of stuff. Now, I do still order coffee and drink coffee a lot from Expedition Joe, which is a company that I work with, and they sell roasted coffee, just like you buy in the store. So if you're wanting roasted coffee, that's the place to go, because their coffee is amazing. As far as unroasted green, big bulk coffee, that bodhileafcoffee.com is the place that I buy it from. I have for years, and they're great. The beans get here really fast. The prices is about the cheapest I've seen for the amount. And now I know you can get cheaper beans, but you usually have to buy them in large quantities, like a pickup truckload. And if you're doing that, that's different. And they do offer cheaper prices. But if you just wanted to get on there and order 10 pounds or 20 pounds or 50 pounds, you can. And that's why I use them. Expedition Joe, yes, that is some really good coffee for roasted coffee. It's amazing because it's fresh. And you can cut coffee with chicory. Yes, I should have brought it out here. I would, it's not something I sell or anything, but I purchased. It's not technically coffee. It has no coffee in it actually, and it's like roasted mushrooms, chicory. I can't remember. It's got several different things in it. And I thought I'd just try it. It's like a coffee-like drink, and man, that stuff is amazing. And my wife and we have a cup of that in the evening because there's no caffeine in it, and we have a cup of that in the evening all the time. It's really good stuff. Thank you, modern American patriot. We are in the middle of the ultimate battle of good versus evil. God always wins. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless the Republic. Thank you very much. And that's right. We are in that big battle. And for those of you that are believers in the good book and the Father in heaven, you know how this story ends. You know who prevails in the end. But we also know that there's going to be some hard times between now and that point, and that's why we have to prepare. You know, we were never promised easy times. We were never promised that he would protect us and shield us from bad times. He said he would make sure that, you know, he'd take care of us, but we're still going to go through hard times. And so that's why we prepare spiritually, mentally, and physically. Because the stuff that's going on, it's not good, and it's going to get worse. I hear people all the time, well, when do you think this is all going to go away and get better? Well, I don't really think it will. I mean, there may be little pockets along the way that seems like it's going to get better, but according to, it doesn't really get better. It just kind of goes on until the end comes. And because I'm a Bible believer, that's kind of where I stand on that. Let's see. Yeah, it says we are a republic per the Constitution. That's correct. We are. Someone keeps saying that. I don't know if there's anyone in the chat room that's countering that point. But yes, we are a republic, not a democracy. America's going to end up like Europe's socialism? Most likely, yeah. And that's pretty much what this whole Great Reset and this stakeholder economy is to make us like European socialism. That's pretty much how it all ends up. All right. I mentioned something when I first started this, and I'm going to mention it again. This is just more personal. If there are any of you watching that are here locally in the Ozarks, I am having the worst time to do, and I'm still having problems with it. So if any of you know someone around me or in kind of here in the central Ozarks, South Missouri Ozarks, that's good at working on computers or something, shoot me an email so that I can try to get a hold of this person. It needs some work done on it, and it's not an old laptop. I don't know what's happened. I can, and it's still having problems. So if there's, you know of anyone here in the Ozarks that's really good with computers, let me know, and that hopefully doesn't charge an arm and a leg. Control, control, control. That's what it's all about in the end. It's not about money. They already own everything, basically. They have all the money they could ever want. You know, they couldn't spend their money in 100 lifetimes. It's about control. And in the end, it's not so much about control of our bodies. It's control of our minds. That's what they want. They want control of our minds. So I think that's where this is all headed. That's why we're in this third industrial revolution, this technological revolution, is to, in the end, have control of our minds. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, chip and plant, mark of the beast, all that kind of stuff. Randy says Bodie Leaf, and he spelled it right. That's right. Bodie Leaf Coffee is the company that I get my unroasted green coffee beans. All right. I think I'm about ready. We've been on here for an hour, so we're getting close to our jumping off time. I try to keep these at an hour because for me, if I go any longer than an hour, it's just, I feel like I'm just babbling. I run out of things to say. Let's see. Someone asked if we raise our own livestock feed. We haven't. I have in the past, but we haven't on this property. But that is the goal. We have the seeds to plant, and so we're hoping to. I actually, I think I may have only shown it in 1 or 2 videos. But our property, it's not perfectly square. It's kind of, does this little number. Well, that very back corner, which is the furthest place away from the house, there's another field, and we don't have any animals on it or anything because it's just too far away, but there's another pasture, and it's just not being used for anything, but it's a good pasture with good soil. And so we're considering developing part of that, like having part of it for hay and the other part for, like corn, and that thing. But we haven't done it yet. We're going to try this year. We're going to kind of test it out. But that's the plan. So no, we are not raising our own or growing our own animal feed. I have in the past, but that is the goal that we're hoping to do. As far as hay, I get my hay just right down the road. I mean, it's a farmer guy down the road that I can, if I wanted to, I can literally walk to his house. And he's a retired, well, he's a Vietnam veteran, and he bales hay, basically just because he has nothing else better to do. He has a few cows, and he has way more hay than he can do with. So he sells it, and that's where I get my hay from him. So it's pretty sustainable, being that it's just right down the road. Any other questions? Someone says it would be crazy cool if I did a hee-haw type entertainment show once a month. I'd have to think about that. I am originally from Tennessee, and I do know what hee-haw is. So I would have to think of that. Let's see. Jay Royal says, I've been thinking of doing the same this year. Most of my property is woods, and then there's pasture up the hill in the back. That's kind of the same situation with us. We have where you see me do most of my videos, which is where the house and the open land is, and then there's woods all up in here, and then up in the very kind of corner, there's another pasture. And the thing is I don't have a road to it. My neighbors, I can get to it from my neighbor's property, and I have permission anytime. He's got property that kind of borders back in there, and he has a road into his property, and I can get to it that way. I want to build a road on my own property, and that's part of the reason why I haven't developed it, and I've just been busy with so many other things. That I haven't really been able to focus on that back part of the property that's just sitting there doing nothing. But it's really beautiful too. My wife and I have talked that I think someday we'd like to build a house back there because it's way in the back, and there's a hill there that looks out over the pasture, and then down at the bottom there's a creek. It's really pretty, and it's way back in there. No one would ever see you. So, anyways, anything else? Taiwan blackout. I have not heard of a Taiwan blackout. I did hear that they were having some problems, but I haven't heard that they're having a total blackout or anything. Someone said CME disturbances. Thank you for bringing that up, time in a bottle, because I was going to talk about that, and I didn't. If you didn't know, apparently we're supposed to have it. Well, we have a CME coming in. I don't know I think it's already hit us here in the United States. Excuse me. It was supposed to be like early afternoon or late afternoon, early evening. So I think we've probably already been hit by it. And it was a moderate CME. They were saying that there could be some communications disruption, and even some other coronal mass ejection is what a CME. It's like an EMP. It can destroy the electric grid, basically fry electric grid. It can fry wiring. It can disrupt communications. What it does at the very least is it can cause the aurora borealis to come further south, and there's already been reports of that. I heard yesterday a lot of people saying that they could see it and it was coming pretty far south. So there's probably that. Someone said that, asked if I answer their question. Let's see. Justin, let me go back up here. But I haven't heard of any real problems with the CME tonight. So okay, the Justin side says, I don't believe anything the mainstream media says about Ukraine and Russia. Do you believe what they're saying is at all true, and what's going on? All right, so let me start off with this. Most of the time when someone lies, there's truth in a lie. It's very rare that someone tells a lie that's absolutely, completely void of truthfulness, that there's nothing in it that's correct. Usually there's something in it that's kind of truthful. So I think that there's probably something in the things that they're saying that's truthful. But no, I don't believe what they say. I don't believe the mainstream media for a moment. And I don't believe like the conservative mainstream media either. Everyone has an agenda. And so no, I think that I've often thought about in the last couple, 3 weeks about the whole Ukraine thing is how much of it is even happening at all. I mean, you know, they would be able to really pull one over on us if they wanted to. I did speak to someone briefly in Ukraine, and they didn't, to me, and I don't know where they were, but they didn't sound like that they were doing too bad in Ukraine. So I think we're definitely being lied to. It doesn't mean that I don't think that there's people that's being harmed and hurt and dying and all that. But there's definitely a lot of misinformation in the Ukraine and what's going on there. Another thing, there is a couple of YouTube channels that I've been watching recently, and these are people in Russia, and they're just regular people. You know, they do their gardens and they just talk about life in Russia. And anyways, one of them posted a video today, this afternoon, and they were wanting to show what was going on in Russia in regards to getting supplies, going to the store and going shopping, how much these sanctions has affected that. And so they went into a store that would be like a big Walmart supercenter. And I'll tell you this, the store shelves were stocked way better than any Walmart that I have seen here in the United States in the last year or so. There was no shortage of anything in that store. And he would tell what the prices would be compared to American price, you know, the American dollar. And most of the stuff that he was talking about was way cheaper than what we have to pay for it here. So this idea that all of these sanctions are going to just destroy Russia, it's very possible that all these sanctions are just going to come back and bite us in the hind end and hurt us worse. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it's possible, especially the more that China props up the Russian economy and the Russian people. So, yes, Charles Shelby says Ukraine and Russia are both corrupt. They absolutely are. There's a video. It's over on the TPH network. For those of you that sign up on TPH network, it's called, someone help me out. Is it Ukraine Under Fire or Ukraine on Fire or something? It's a documentary put out by, oh goodness. Someone jump into the chat room and help me out if you know what I'm talking about. The Ukraine documentary by the Hollywood, Oliver Stone, that's right. Marsha. Oliver Stone made it a few years ago. It's over on Rumble and a few other places, and someone shared a link on TPH Network. You should watch that. It's like an hour and a half long documentary he made, I believe, back in 2016 about the history of Ukraine and how corrupt Ukraine is, and how just a lot of the stuff that it'll open your eyes, folks. You should watch that documentary. It's well worth watching. because there is so, and all governments, yes, the crazy Mexican says all world governments are corrupt. Absolutely, they most certainly are. Ukraine on fire, Kimberly says, that's what it's called. So try to watch that documentary if you can. It opens your eyes. Bioweapons labs, there's all kinds of stuff going on there, all kinds of stuff in Ukraine. Like I said before, it's like the dirty money laundering house for the world, at least the West. And so there's way more going on there than I think we'll ever know. And no, I don't really believe what the mainstream media is telling us at all. David Potter said he bought a little still on Wish. You bought a distillation still on Wish. Let me know how that works out for you, if it's any good. Fauci funded labs all over to keep them. That's right. Yeah, there's lots of proof that kind of stuff was being done. Same thing as in Kazakhstan. Remember just a few months ago, all the problems and the kind of the revolution going on in Kazakhstan? It was the same thing there, folks. There was several labs there that we were funding in Kazakhstan. And I think I did a video, maybe on my Patreon channel, but I did a video on that. I'm pretty sure it was my Patreon channel a couple of months back. All right, folks. Yes, Ozark moonshine. That's one thing the Ozarks is well known for, is their quality moonshine. I think I'm gonna get off of here. Yes, yeah, Kazakhstan is the New World Order future playground. That's correct. That's why the video I did on Patreon for Kazakhstan, they moved their capital to a new place, their capital city. And basically, they're the first. They call it the first New World Order city of the 21st century. They built it in like 2001 or something like that, and it's an extremely modern, really weird city in Kazakhstan. All right, folks, I am going to get off of here. I think I've covered at least some of your questions. It's really hard when there's like 1,000 people in here. It's hard to answer all your questions, and I do apologize for that. If you have a question that's really pressing, go ahead and send me an email. I get a lot, but I do try to answer them. You can put in the subject line bold letters, big all cap letters, to get my attention. So because I just get so much. Yes, Matthew over at Ready Set Prep YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe to his YouTube channel, Ready Set Prep. He's an amazing guy, super smart, really knowledgeable, and he's got a brand new YouTube channel. He's just trying to get going. So go over there and subscribe to him. Help him out. All right, folks. Thank you for watching tonight. We'll get on here again. I'm hoping to be able to do these live streams a little bit more often. So. And my wife was supposed to join me, but I think she's busy getting the kids to bed or something like that. So it's kind of bath night for them, and I think that's why she didn't come out. So maybe next time we can get her to come out here. All right, folks, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.